Because of the way I've talked about this subject matter in other games, I've had a few requests to play No Means Nothing, a short horror game about surviving a deeply uncomfortable and all too common scenario in which someone ignores your boundaries, autonomy, and consent because they've decided that what they want is more important than you saying no. Let's get into it, shall we? If you enjoy this video, please don't forget to like and subscribe. No Means Nothing was created by Boba Bros, who seem to have a penchant for viscerally uncomfortable experiences, of which this absolutely is one. The especially gut-wrenching part of it all is directly being told that the game is based off real-life events for the dev, they just change the names involved. So there's an autobiographical roughness to how awkward and messy everything is when it comes to how Radek behaves towards the protagonist, and how the protagonist tries to rationalize or argue in his head about what's happening. See, a man pretending to be your friend when really they want to fuck you is not an unfamiliar experience for really any woman. Women have to deal with men feeling entitled to their bodies all the time, which isn't to detract from what this game depicts, it's more to highlight that women's experiences are more openly discussed, and even then, those discussions are often met with hostility, deflection, victim blaming. Male survivors run a different but similar gauntlet. While women are almost conditioned to expect abuse and assault and all the ways they need to be proactive so that people don't blame them for what someone else decided to do to them, men are in a position where this was never supposed to happen to you. And it shouldn't happen to anyone. What I mean by that is, you're a man. You're supposed to be strong and tough and capable. If it happened to you, you must have been weak. You must have let them do it. You must have been a bitch, basically a woman. What are you, gay? And if the perpetrator was a woman, forget it. It either didn't happen because people conceptualize the act in their head as being physically overpowered, so they can't imagine a woman doing that to a man, or if they accept that something sexual happened, it turns into more shaming, interrogation, jokes about wishing that happened to them because doesn't matter, had sex is a mentality so many men are encouraged to embrace. Sidebar, the amount of women who also uphold this kind of thinking makes me angrier than I really have the words for. Like, we as a group should know better? What the fuck? What I mean to say with all of this, male and female survivors have experienced the same trauma. There is so much overlap in emotions, reactions, and the journey to some form of healing. But because of how different genders are treated, there are noteworthy differences in how these things are treated and play out. And I am deeply irritated when one conversation is derailed for another. All that does is piss everyone off and pit people against each other. As it is, this game is specifically about a man surviving an old friend who takes advantage of his precarious home life and financial struggles, getting him a job at what seems to be the back room of a porn shop, and eventually offering to let him crash at the friend's place when his mother threatens to throw him out of the house. There are a number of ways the game can end, 2 of them on the positive side and 2 on the negative, and these depend on how you interact with Radek, your responses marked by different stats like anger, willpower, and submissiveness. You can absolutely go and look up the endings, but I would recommend playing the game if it's something you can stomach. It builds tension like someone incorrectly stringing a tennis racket, pulling tighter and tighter until something snaps and you either get out of this terrible situation one way or another, or you are the thing that snaps. It starts, innocently enough, with Radek getting us the packing job. Chaotic at first as you get used to the ramshackle layout of the shelves, but doable. When we finish early, he talks to us about why we've been ghosting him, not hanging out with our old friend group anymore. And it sounds like all of them, including Radek, were a nightmare to be around. It's only because of our shitty circumstances that we've ended up here. The next day, he escalates, making comments about our ass while we stock the shelves, and telling us how cute we were back in the school days, that kind of thing. He also has a surprise, a box of beer he wants to share with us. Of course, if we say no, he gets manipulative, tries to guilt us to drink with him, but that's gonna be a hard pass for me, piss boy. The day after this, we come into work only to find the lights are off. Someone took a crowbar to the fuse box. Yeah, so Radek definitely did this, and he spends the rest of this shift lurking around the place, slamming doors, knocking over shelves, and standing ominously between them with a crowbar in his hand. He blames us for feeling like shit today, either massively hungover from all the empty beer cans everywhere, or quite possibly still drunk. How he still has this job must be the devil's work. Once the shift is over, we hang out with Radek again in the break room, where he's set up some candles, music, and tells us he has a boyfriend now. Yeah, that's cool and all, but you're still being a fucking creep. Happy Pride, I guess. It's from this conversation that we end up at his place, since our mother gave us 5 days to get out of her house, and that time has run out. Radek, being the supreme gentleman that he is, offers to let us crash at his place, and I immediately realized that when he said he has a boyfriend now, that was either to gauge how we reacted to the concept of two dudes together, or he's decided we're the boyfriend. Later on, we're sat way too goddamn close to Radek on his couch when he decides we need some entertainment, and proceeds to show us a gallery of naked women on the legally distinct hub, specifically close-up shots of their sin grottos. He's clearly trying to get some kind of reaction out of the protagonist, get him horny and hope that an erection makes him more agreeable to whatever Radek wants to do, but it takes us saying some form of no several times for him to stop talking about this, which he takes as us being more into dick. Obviously. This eventually leads to a physical altercation where Radek ends up sprawled on the floor and we're on our feet, at which point the game can split into its 4 endings depending on how you've acted up to now, as that plays a part in what you can say. For my part, I got the good enough ending, one of the positive outcomes, but even in the better ideal ending, things aren't immediately sunshine and rainbows. The situation is horrible, it leaves its mark, it takes time to heal, but you do eventually start to. You move on and make space for people who don't want to shrink you down, who don't see you as just a means to an end, something to use and abuse and beat down when you dare to ask for better. Because you do deserve better. You deserve to be heard and listened to and treated with kindness. That doesn't make you a little bitch, it doesn't make you less of a man. You're the only one who gets to decide what being a man means to you, no one else. And if you're a man who has been through something like that, and you're still here, still choosing to wake up every day and try again, I am so proud of you. You're not alone. You are not alone. I've left some resources down below for those who may find them helpful. Thank you for watching. If you've enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and drop a comment down below, whether it's a game you'd like to see me cover, what you thought about the one we just discussed, or to tell me about your pets. Special shout out to my patrons and YouTube members who are all very handsome people, and if you'd also like to be called a very handsome people, you can support the channel through Patreon or become a member here on YouTube. Either way gets your name in the credits. If you're into live streams, you can catch me every Wednesday on Twitch at 8 PM British time. I can also be found over on Blue Sky and TikTok when I remember to post on either of those. All that being said, don't forget to drink your water, take your medication, be kind to yourselves, and I will see you all next time.